People always say your life can change in one moment, but they never tell you that the moment usually feels ordinary at first, just a breath, a pause, a simple turn that becomes everything later. And if you're new here, trust me, by the time this story ends, you'll understand exactly why. So before I begin, make sure you like the video and subscribe, because stories like this, they only get deeper from here. It was a cloudy evening when everything shifted. I was standing outside a small cafe, waiting for the drizzle to slow down, my hands deep in my pockets, replaying an argument I'd had with Aisha earlier that day. We weren't officially anything, just two people floating somewhere between friendship and something more complicated. She said I never took risks. I said she expected too much. The truth was, we were both a little scared. As I stood there, a police car pulled up. At first, I didn't pay attention. But then a tall officer stepped out, sharp eyes, crisp uniform, a look of someone who could read people before they even spoke. He walked straight toward me, and for a split second I wondered if I'd done something wrong. "You're not married, right?" he said without greeting, his voice firm, almost too casual for the question. I blinked, confused. No?" He pulled out a small notebook. "Good. I need your number." I stared at him, shocked. My mind raced. Was this normal? Was he joking? Did I look like someone who needed police protection, or God forbid, someone who was being recruited for something strange? Before I could ask anything, his radio beeped loudly. He glanced at it, then at me again. "Sit tight. I'll talk to you in a minute." Then he stepped aside, murmuring into his radio. My heart thudded. Anxiety rose. What was happening? After a few moments, he returned with a softer expression. "It's about Aisha," he said. Everything inside me froze. "What happened?" My voice cracked before I could stop it. "She listed you as someone close to her. There was an accident." "Not serious," he added quickly, noticing the panic in my eyes. "She's shaken up. She needs someone to pick her up, and she mentioned you. But she didn't have your number." The ground finally steadied beneath me. A strange mixture of fear, relief, and guilt flooded through me. We had argued earlier, and I had stubbornly walked away, not realizing she was more upset than she let on. I gave him my number, followed him to the station where she was waiting, and when I saw her sitting there drenched, trembling, hugging herself like she was holding her pieces together, I understood something I'd been avoiding for too long. She looked up, startled. "You came?" The officer beside me raised an eyebrow. "He said he cares." I believe him. Then he walked off, leaving us in an awkward silence. I sat beside her. "Are you okay?" She nodded, but tears slipped down silently. Without thinking, I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. After a long moment, she whispered, "Why did you come?" "Because," I paused, feeling every wall inside me break. "Because we're dating?" She stared at me like she was waiting for me to deny it. When I didn't, she exhaled slowly, her shoulders relaxing. "I wasn't sure," she said. "You never say what you feel. It's like I'm always guessing." I took a breath, maybe the deepest one in my life. I'm not good at this. But today scared me. I don't want to keep pretending you're just a friend. Not anymore. The ride home was quiet, but the silence felt gentle, like a new beginning instead of an ending. For a few weeks after that night, everything between us softened. We talked more openly, laughed more easily, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid of being vulnerable. But life doesn't just give you happiness, it tests your commitment to it. Aisha's father fell seriously ill. The medical bills were crushing, and she was juggling work, home, and fear all at once. The strong, smiling version of her faded into someone exhausted, someone drowning quietly behind forced smiles. I tried to help, but every time I offered, she pushed me away. "I don't want to be a burden," she insisted. "You're not," I said again and again. "Yes, I am. And you'll leave eventually because of it." Her words hit harder than she knew. I had spent years running from emotional responsibility, keeping distance so no one could say I failed them. But now, hearing her fear, I realized I wasn't afraid because she needed me. I was afraid because I didn't know if I was enough. One night, after she broke down for the third time that week, I finally made a choice. I stayed with her at the hospital, brought food for her family, handled phone calls she didn't have the energy to deal with, and sat beside her father even when he barely spoke. I didn't do it out of obligation. I did it because I loved her. A month later, her father started recovering. Aisha looked less haunted, more like herself again. One evening, as we sat outside the hospital, exhausted but grateful, she turned to me with red-rimmed eyes and whispered, "Why didn't you leave?" "Because," I said softly, repeating the line that had become the truth of us, "we're dating." She laughed through her tears. "That's not a good enough reason." "Then hear this," I said, taking her hands. "I'm here because I choose you. Not just on good days. Especially on the bad ones." She hugged me so tightly it felt like a promise. Weeks passed. The storm of life settled. We grew into something real, something steady, something built not on perfect moments but on surviving imperfect ones together. Even the officer who brought us together walked into the cafe once, recognized us, and grinned like he'd solved a case. "So it worked out?" he asked, crossing his arms proudly. Aisha laughed. "More than worked out." The officer winked at me. "See? Sometimes people just need a push." And he was right. By the end of that year, Aisha and I had stopped hiding behind questions and fears. We didn't need labels or hesitation anymore. We had something deeper, a connection built on truth, vulnerability, and 1,000 moments of choosing each other. Life didn't magically become easy. We still argued. We still misunderstood. But we learned to stay, to listen, to try again. And that, more than anything else, became our love story. So if you're still watching, remember this: sometimes your life's turning point comes disguised as confusion, fear, or a strange encounter with a police officer who asks for your number. Sometimes the things that scare you are the very things that lead you to who you're meant to be. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You never know, your story might be the next one we tell.